Section 2.5.2 idwds. The iterated deletion of weakly dominated strategies. IDWDS is a weakening of IDSDS. That it allows the deletion also of weakly dominated strategies. However, this procedure has to be defined carefully, since in this case the order of deletion can matter. To see this, consider the game shown in figure 2.13. We have a 4x2 grid. Player 1 has capital A, capital T, capital M, capital B, and player 2 has capital L, capital R. The payoffs are 4, 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, figure 2.13, a strategic form game with ordinal payoffs. Since capital M is strictly dominated by capital T for player 1, we can delete it and obtain the reduced game shown in figure 2.14. Figure 2.14 is a 3x2 game with capital A, capital T, capital B for player 1, and for player 2, capital L, capital R. The outputs are 4, 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, 2, 2, 0, 0, 1, 1. It is the game of figure 2.13 after deletion of strategy capital M. Now capital L is weakly dominated by capital R for player 2. Deleting capital L, we are left with the reduced game shown in figure 2.15. We have a 3x1 game where player 1 has capital A, capital T, capital B, and player 2 has capital R. And the outputs are 0, 0, 2, 2, 1, 1. This is figure 2.15, the game of figure 2.14 after deletion of strategy capital L. Now, capital A and capital B are strictly dominated by capital T. Deleting them, we are left with capital T, capital R, with corresponding payoffs 2, 2. Alternatively, going back to the game, figure 2.13, we could note that B is strictly dominated by capital T. Deleting capital B, we are left with a 4x2, a 3x2 game where player 1 has capital M, capital A, capital T, capital M, and player 2 has capital L, capital R. The payoffs are 4, 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0. This is figure 2.16, the game of figure 2.13 after deletion of strategy capital B. Now capital R is weakly dominated by capital L for player 2. Deleting capital R, we are left with the reduced game shown in figure 2.17, where it's a 3x1 game for player 1. There's capital A, capital T, capital M, and player 2, there's just L. Outputs are, for player 2, is capital L. The outputs are 4, 0, 3, 2, 1, 1, which is figure 2.17, the game of figure 2.16 after deletion of strategy capital R. Now capital T and capital M are strictly dominated by capital A, and deleting them leads to capital A, capital L with corresponding payoffs 4, 0. Since one order of deletion leads to capital T, capital R with payoffs 2, 2, and the other to capital A, capital L with payoffs 4, 0, the procedure is not well defined. Definition 2.5.1 IDWDS. In order to avoid the problem illustrated above, the IDWDS procedure is defined as follows. At every step, identify for every player all the strategies that are weakly or strictly dominated, and then delete all such strategies in that step. If the output of the capital I, capital D, capital W, capital D, capital S procedure, IDWDS procedure is a single strategy profile, then we call that strategy profile the iterated weakly dominant strategy equilibrium. Otherwise, we just use the expression output of the IDWDS procedure, capital IDWDS procedure. For example, the capital IDWDS procedure, when applied to the game of figure 2.13, leads to the set of strategy profiles shown in figure 2.18. We have a 2x2 grid. For player 1, we have capital A and capital T. For player 2, we have capital L and capital R. The payoffs are 4, 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, 2, 2, which is figure 2.818. The output of the capital IDWDS procedure applied to the game of figure 2.13. It's a game figure 2.13 does not have an iterated weakly dominant strategy equilibrium. The interpretation of the output of the capital IDWDS procedure is not as simple as that of the capital IDSDS procedure. Certainly, common knowledge or rationality is not sufficient. In order to delete weakly dominated strategies, one needs to appeal not only to rationality, but also to some notion of caution. A player should not completely rule out any of her opponent's strategies. However, this notion of caution is in direct conflict with the process of deletion of strategies. In this book, we shall not address the issue of how to justify the capital I, capital D, W, D, S procedure. That's your understanding of the concepts introduced in the section by going through the exercises in section 2.9.5 at the end of this chapter.